Thank you for joining us today at C-Suite Support and CEO Talks. Today we're going to be introducing you to Alex Lyons with InLine Hospitality and Stephen Guilfold with Affordable Healthcare. The idea today is to talk about how do you recover from the pandemic that we're into right now. And the general area is in the food services industry. Alex is in food services. Stephen is in health insurance and trying to help companies recover some of the losses they've had this year. So today we're going to be talking primarily with Alex about what he does in InLine hospitality to help companies grow, get started, restaurants, bars, things of that nature that have just been decimated by all of the COVID situation. And he is thriving, helping other companies get back on their feet. So Alex, tell me what's going on with you and tell me about you first.
Well, I've been in the Dallas area for about 7 or 8 years. I've helped probably up to 13 businesses get going, 13 different restaurants, bars, some in the hotel management area. And basically at InLine Hospitality, we are a company that helps new businesses get their businesses off to the right track and make sure that they have everything in line once they get going. And then we also help out businesses that are already going that maybe want to take a look at their menu or their cocktails or just their numbers in general and make sure that they have the right tools and are connected with the right people to be successful.
Outstanding. Well, some of the things that we do at C-Suite is we work with restaurants and other businesses for getting them in shape financially, both from financing and from direction. One of the things I want to point out right now, as we all know, round 2 of the PPP is just going into effect right now, and restaurants qualify for a 3.5 multiple, where everybody else is 2.5. So if all your restaurants need to be filing for that, and they need to do it quickly.
Yes.
In talking with the banks over the last 48 hours, they're expecting the money to run out in about 2 to 3 weeks. So get with your accountant. You can get with C-Suite, whatever you need to do, but let's get our filings going for all of that. What are the biggest challenges you see right now for entrepreneurs in the food industry business?
Well, there's an abundance of them at this moment. Obviously, the COVID challenge and getting people to come back out and feel safe and secure inside of your restaurant, and then adjusting to, with alcohol being a big part of a lot of people's profits, you have to push food at this moment. And if you're going to be open, then you're having to do 51% food, 49% liquor. And so there's a lot of businesses out there that are struggling or didn't even have food to begin with. And then you're also trying to find yourself in a place where takeout and delivery is now huge. And if you didn't do a lot of that before, you're now kind of playing catch up with some of the other places. That's why ghost kitchens and some of the smaller real estate areas are actually doing better because they're not paying as much for rent, but they are overall, still pushing out the same amount of food that they were before. But the struggles are real in the service industry.
Well, I mean, when I first met you, I thought, just with COVID and the restaurants and everything else, that was what everybody thinks is literally the hardest hit thing possible, right? So I was feeling sorry for you, and then you told me about how well you guys have been doing now. You've actually grown so much. And I was like, I thought the insurance thing was doing pretty good, health insurance in the health pandemic, but actually you guys are doing amazing things, and that's really, really, really positively a surprise.
Yeah, so basically with everything that we came across and all of the challenges that we did face, we kind of backed up to our own restaurants. Even though I do consulting, we kind of backed up and took a look internally. And so for restaurants, the biggest thing that you can do is to streamline what kind of foods that you have. You can't have as much food options. You need to go with your heavy hitters. You need to take a look at what it is that you did best before the pandemic and push for those strengths. And then with everybody staying home and being on their phones more and the internet, you need to push for more content. So we've been setting up photo shoots and getting with charities and other things like that to give back to the service industry. And that has really helped bring us to the forefront. And to be honest with you, we were one of the first people that jumped back out there when the pandemic happened, when they were allowing people to open back up. In Deep Ellum, we, at Off the Cuff, we really were one of the first businesses that were open. And that gave us an opportunity to showcase, you know, not only our great service and everything else, but some of the new stuff that, you know, the pandemic has led to, like QR codes for menus. And with us having such a big space, we were able to space people out and, you know, just really show people that you can still go out and have, you know, that meal or that drink with a coworker or whatever it is without, you know, feeling like you're packed in. And
tell me a little bit about, you know, we're talking about you got Off the Cuff, you got that situation going, open it back up, you're expanding in the pandemic. You mentioned how you're trying to bring the people back in and expand your services. Tell me about the fact that you're taking advantage of this time to open other restaurants and work with other people to get their restaurants open that have, when we see so many that have failed, why is yours working?
Well, overall, especially in the time that we're in, the reward is in the risk. And there is a lot of spaces that are opening up, and unfortunately there was a lot of businesses that closed. And overall, the people that are leasing to tenants are a little bit more forgiving at this time, giving, you know, the TI, the tenant incentives and everything else to help businesses get started or help the business grow. So right now, you know, especially with a lot of my clients or, you know, the clients that I hope to have here very soon, is to, if you're feeling like you have something great, now is the time to open those businesses, because you can get 3, 4, 5 months of forgiveness to get that business open. Or if you're already open but you wanted to expand a little bit, right now is the time to build that patio, because the people that are leasing are offering certain things to help these businesses stay open and keep the spaces occupied. And so, you know, we are opening a place off of Bledsoe in Fort Worth called Poor Decisions, and we are...
how's that poor spelled?
P-O-U-R.
Either way, that's a great name.
Wanted to get that one out there as to why that name was there.
Oh, it's fantastic. One of the guys that I work with, Alex Hines, he is great at coming up with these concepts and helping to build out the bar. And I actually met him when we were at Vedora in Deep Ellum. And him and I were working together. And the funny part is his name is Alex Hines. Mine is Alex Lines. And so a lot of times when we were at Vedora building everything, everybody was coming to me talking about how amazing the bar program was and all this other stuff. And I was like, I'm the kitchen. I do the kitchen stuff. So and then I met him and I was like, it's you. You're the problem.
You're the problem.
Now we're in business together, and I think both of us couldn't be happier. So
outstanding. Well, tell me how this young man, how Stephen comes into play to help you and your business get things in line and keep expenses in line, not only for you, but for your clients.
Well, to be honest with you, Steve became a blessing in disguise for me, because him and his company are part of a bigger plan that I have for the service industry. So not only do we consult for restaurants, but we also provide staffing. And so the first time we sat down and talked, you know, I told him that I wanted to provide insurance for the service industry, which was something that, you know, is really kind of unheard of. And I told him, you know, there's so much money in the service industry, so much cash moving around. Why was this not something that somebody else was doing? And his simple answer was nobody was building a scalable model towards it. And so by consulting with restaurants and helping with staffing, I'm hoping to be able to bring in that side of the benefits to these employees. And Affordicare has this wonderful policy that not only can I do my W-2 employees, but I can do my 1099 employees. And that is a huge part of my scalable model of trying to provide that for my people. And, you know, in the industry, we call it the adult jobs. And a lot of people leave the industry to go and get that adult job. And that's because it provides the benefits that they need for their families. And so I'm trying to be able to let people do what they love, but provide a quality insurance that will help sustain them.
I mean, the thing that every single person I've talked to that works with you, they love you and everything about just the environment and the type of kind of culture that you guys have. And I think I think it lends to companies that are willing to offer access to benefits. And kind of like you said, with kind of the adult jobs, that's the single biggest thing that we find, that I think a lot of companies would not take the hurdle of a new career or new job, because it's always tied to those health benefits. And so by you doing that, it sets you apart. It's one of those things, kind of, you're talking about new things that people aren't doing. That's probably one of the biggest separators that you have that I don't see other people doing right now.
Well, I'd like to follow on with that. I've brought in some opportunities with some of my clients, and I call that a kind of a golden handcuff.
Yeah.
I've got some clients that have, the 1099 contractors that have real difficulty in getting insurance. And by bringing Stephen and his company in, we've got several companies that employ a lot of contractors that they have a high turnover, and they spend a lot of money to get these contractors and get them trained. Well, providing the adult care, as you're saying here, providing the opportunity where that contractor can not only have the kind of business that he chooses to have, he can also take care of his family with the benefits. So I'm going to throw that back to Stephen. Just how does that work as far as bringing in the contractors? Who pays for it? What's happening with it? How do you take care of that?
Yeah, so the beauty with it is that ultimately how at least the first scale will go is that will cost nothing for you guys to offer access to a group health insurance plan that each employee that, let's say, is coming over and, let's say, starting, that just the access to that coverage is probably going to save that person about $4,000 to $7,000 a year of just an extra perk of what it would cost that person to pay for it on their own versus what they would get for the benefits of kind of you offering kind of a group scale. So the really cool thing with it is you're basically giving overnight a $7,000 raise to somebody, but costing you nothing and offering a huge unintangible kind of number that comes with that. So that's, I think, one of the really cool things that if you're trying to recruit and retain people, that's probably the easiest and fastest way to do it.
Absolutely. Well, I agree with that. Tell me, what are the three things entrepreneurs should be doing right now in the food and beverage industry to get their business back in track, growing, and potentially needing your services?
Well, the number one thing is to definitely look internally. Look at what worked for you pre-pandemic and then strengthen those things. If you have a great cocktail menu or people are coming back for certain types of food, or you have a strong following for people that are coming in for business meetings, find a way to make that work better. And then I would say the second thing is to use this time wisely. There's a lot of us that are not doing as many in-person interviews or meeting with people and talking with them, and so spending this time building content for themselves and taking that extra picture or doing a video or coming on and talking with you, spending that time actually building that content and getting it out on the web, because people are spending up to 10 times more time on their phone or on the internet. And so being able to be in front of your customer even when they're not inside of your restaurant is important. And then for a lot of the restaurants out there, if let's say you were going to go to a restaurant, what's the first thing that you do for your date night? You go online and you look.
Well, first of all, I hope I have one. So we're going to start there.
We're going to start there. Find the
baby
date.
steps. Baby steps.
Find the date.
Yeah.
But then you're going to go online and you're going to look what businesses are around you, and then you're going to start to look at the reviews and everything else, and that's where SEO is important. That's where looking into what your Yelp reviews and your Google reviews look like. What are the pictures that are on there? Because there's a ton of people out there that they take pictures and they post them to Yelp and Google and everything, but they're not professional photographers, and they might not be even your friend. They might be somebody that got bad service or whatever else. And so taking a look at that content that your customer sees is probably one of the most important things that you can do, because that's what people are looking for right now is, where can I go? What is open? What has delivery and drive-through? What kind of reviews does that have? And so I believe that those are some of the most important things that you can do right now. And then when it comes to my services, I I believe that where my company excels is that we do free consultations. And so we come in and we analyze the areas that maybe you're not doing as well in. And we take a look at P&Ls and staff and everything else. And as we were talking about, it's a little more, the bar rescue John Taffer, where we will actually come into your business and people don't know who I am. And so we will sit down and we will eat and we will enjoy ourselves, but we will ask, the servers the hard questions. We will, push the kitchen staff to maybe make something special or whatever else, and kind of see where the flaws are in their design. And
so if I have a restaurant, I can invite you in. You're going to analyze my business for free. You're going to give me a free meal.
Yeah. I will be getting
or do I have to pay, or do I make you pay for your meal while you're analyzing my business?
Well,
no,
I don't have a lot of
times.
No, I know, but I don't have a lot of times that people don't sign up. So I pay for my meal, and then it always comes back to me in the end.
Then you're not conflicted. That's all right with that situation.
I'm not conflicted. Yeah. So.
All right. Well, what do you see as far as getting content to get out to the entrepreneurs? How does an entrepreneur that's in a restaurant business get a hold of you? We talked about earlier here that one of the bigger things that I do is work LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is business. I market to businesses through LinkedIn, and now I'm a restaurant owner, or I want to be a restaurant owner. How do I find you, and how do I get to you to get your services?
Well, correction, I think both of us are wannabe restaurant owners, and so we'll just set that out there. Just
For us, yes.
Well, I can help. But overall, that's what we were talking about before we got started, was my need for your services, which is, and this hits very, very close to home for me. And this was something that in the background I have been trying to build so that, the first of this year I can kind of get that stuff out there. But, getting a hold of me via LinkedIn, via Facebook, our InLine hospitality website itself is under construction at this moment, because we're trying to adjust to where you can actually fill out, information, so that we have more information about you whenever we come out to talk with you. But those would probably be the best ways to get a hold of me at this moment. And I'm now working through to build up my LinkedIn and build up my online presence, because when we started this whole thing, my partners and I, it was more of a word of mouth, and that was working very, very well. We had so much business that, we didn't need a lot of other things. And it was somebody that invited us in. It was not somebody that was like, oh, okay, I need this. And there's not a lot of people that go out and say, I need help. And so now, with everything kind of being backtracked to people being at home and doing a lot of online research, I've realized the flaws in what I have going. And so that's what I'm going to be looking forward to in the future, is building more of that online content. Because most of the people, they follow me through InLine Hospitality at Instagram, or, through my Facebook page. And that's where I get most of the inquiries, is InLine Hospitality Facebook or on Instagram.
Well,
but LinkedIn.
So like we talked about, I mean, you're talking about all the strain on the restaurant industry and how much COVID has affected it. Tell some of the success stories that you've had with some of the companies that you've worked with post-COVID, and how well that's gone for them.
Well, so I've only had a couple of the restaurants that I've worked with actually go under, and those were some of the people that maybe had just started out with me and realized that they might not be able to push through this. They were already having troubles. But overall, Harris House of Heroes off of McKinney, they are doing an amazing job. They have a very small space, but they push their online business, and they do a ton of food. And then Off the Cuff, obviously, is one of the places that I'm heavily personally invested in, but then also, someone that I consult for. And we're actually doing twice the sales that we were before, and that was mainly because we were the first people to get back out there in Deep Ellum and say, look, we're safe, we're fun, give them a little bit more of that normalcy that they're looking for. And Fedora in Deep Ellum is still doing very, very well. And Now we're like I said, we were focused more internally, which is creating these new restaurants and new concepts of our own to kind of push the way forward. And so that's important for us, is to kind of be those trendsetters. And there's a huge opportunity for that right now, to be something that's new.
All right. And so you were telling me before, so if I have an idea for a restaurant and nothing else, where do you step in, or what can you do with that?
Well, and that's where I call my business sort of a turnkey at that point. If you're looking for investors, we have that. If you are looking for a construction company, I have several that we work with. If you are just looking to round out your idea, I have a chef that I'm working with. Her name is Adrienne Hernandez, and she is opening a spot over in Arlington. And we just spoke on the phone yesterday, and she's one of the people that actually has helped me open other restaurants. But now that it's her turn, she's having difficulty pulling on that experience, and she has this wonderful concept, but sometimes you just need that wall to bounce off of. And that's another thing that I really feel good about being able to provide for my customer, is that aspect of having somebody that already knows the waters. You have a guide that will be able to help you get your CO, your certificate of occupancy, and then somebody that knows a lot of professionals in the industry, so that you can help round out your bar with maybe some new people, and then some people that are experts at that.
Like a fractional CFO or something like that. I don't know. Something crazy like that.
Something crazy like that.
Something crazy. Well, let me go to another subject here. Is C-suite, we work with a lot of companies. We're, as you mentioned a minute ago, a fractional CFO, but some of the things we do involves, what does your business need for revenue, for growth, for how do you deal with that? I help companies get funding. We get their financing put in place, we get their financials put in place, and all of that's necessary to get going, whether you're an individual or you're an existing company that needs to expand. But in more recent days, one of the bigger things that has become very positive and very beneficial to any company, including mine, is the video productions of trying to get your message out there. When I do video productions like this show, or some of the other productions that I post on LinkedIn, I'll get between 3,000 and 5,000 views of that. Wow. For me, that's branding C-suite support, but it also brands the people that I work with, the CEOs of companies that want to have expansion of their business, or they have ideas that need to be done. Like right now, I'm going to be doing this afternoon another video on PPP2 at 3 o'clock today. I'm speaking to 100 CEOs about what they need to do for rounding out the next time around. So the Entrepreneur Organization is something that Strategic Alliance partner with. Okay. But all of that circles around to video is one of the newest ways of communication for marketing. How do you see video becoming part of your marketing plan?
Video is so important. I mean, overall, it does something that words and pictures just really cannot do. And as we were kind of talking before the show, even if you have a small segment, 30 seconds, a minute, a couple of minutes, because that's really, the attention span of most of the people that, are out there on the internet. You watch it for a little bit, you scroll on, and
there's a squirrel there, actually.
Yeah, exactly. I knew that was coming. Yeah. But overall, the video can help showcase your business in a way that one single picture or a wellly worded paragraph cannot. And so to be able to show people having a good time, or show your chef seasoning the food, or show your bartenders, interacting with your guests and people smiling and other things like that, it brings a joy and a need almost to want to see that for yourself. And without video, you really can't project those type of things.
How do you see testimonials of the customers that are in there talking about how good the service is, or how good the food is, or how good their experience is? How do you see that being used to promote that restaurant or that bar?
Well, and a lot of people would disagree in the service industry. Yelp is kind of the bane of their existence because, you know, you can't help what gets out there. But if you are consistently giving a good experience, I think people have learned over time that you're always going to have that customer that you can't please. But if you look through a bulk of the Yelp reviews and everything else, you really can and get a good idea of that business. And without those reviews, you might not even get that customer, because there's a lot of people that rely on that stuff. I know that when I go to Amazon, I look at the reviews of whatever product I'm going to buy, and I do the same thing with restaurants. You know, I want to know what the worst customer is saying. You know what I mean? What is possibly my worst experience that I can have here? You know, and then obviously what is the best experience, or what is, you know, some of the people that work there are saying. You know, there's definitely a mix of both of those, and then you have the average customer that decides that they want to leave a review. And so a lot of people, they say that those online reviews are bad, but if you give an optimal and amazing experience, that will push a lot of people to leave that review, because that's really the only thing they can do besides tip you more, you know, that will help you out. And it also comes down to the word of mouth of that as well. You know, people going around and saying, hey, I had an amazing time over here the other day. You should go and check it out.
And you definitely want to do that. My wife and I are foodies. We like to travel, and I don't know how many followers I have now, but a few months ago, before all this COVID did, I had nearly 50 followers that would follow comments that I would put out there on restaurants and travel locations we'd go to.
Okay.
There's people out there that you have no idea that are walking in your restaurants, that you need to treat them like they are the most important person in the world, because they're your customer.
Oh man, that speaks to the heart of what I do differently. You know, as a chef, I love to come out and I talk to my customer. I have an experience actually from Vedora where somebody came in, and we didn't have a lot of vegan options at that time, but they were looking for something. And, you know, I went to the go-to, like, hey, you can get this without meat, or this without, you know, certain animal byproduct or whatever else. But instead of just going to that go-to, I said, you know what? It's a busy Friday night. My staff is doing their thing. I got some time. So I went out and I talked to this customer, and I built her this beautiful chili relleno that was made with onions and nuts for the ground meat that goes in it. And it turned out that she was a editor for the vegan side of Fashion Week. And so she actually took pictures and posted that when she was headed over to Milan. And I was just like, you never know who it is that you're talking to, and how that person could influence your business, good or bad.
Tell me what you're grateful for.
Oh, man, I'm grateful for so many things. I'm grateful for all the people that I've met, all the people that I get to work with, all the people that, you know, I might get to work with in the future. I'm very grateful for the customers that I have. You know, they followed me the entire time that I've been in Dallas, and they are the reason that I continue to do what I do. I went to culinary school when I was 17, and this is all I've ever wanted to do with my life. And there has been a lot of struggles, you know, a lot of $12 an hour jobs, a lot of 12-hour days, a lot of no holidays, no time off, no sick days. And it really is the customer and the people that light up when they take that first bite of food or take that first sip of a cocktail. And it is that really drives what I do. And then with COVID pandemic happening, you know, I really got to see how much people rely on the service industry to help unwind and everything else after a long day, or how much they rely on the service industry to provide a good time for their guests and, you know, friends and family. And I'm very, very thankful for the people like Furlough Kitchen and the, you know, Guy Fieri, who went out and got millions of dollars for the service industry, and just seeing all the love that people have for their local eateries and things like that, that really helped push these places through the pandemic. You know, it is really great to see the love that people have. And I think most of all, the people that I work with, you know, they are some of the strongest and most resilient people that I have ever met in my entire life. And you know, they
kind of like Steven over here.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we're going to be wrapping the show. I appreciate you guys coming over.
I appreciate your time.
Appreciate
Absolutely.
you giving us support from the insurance industry for this guy as well as for me. We're going to be circling back for you and I to talk about just what you do.
Wonderful.
And how you save money, and amazingly how much money. So Alex, appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for
You're
being
welcome.
here.
Thanks
This
for
is
having
Paul
us.
Whitley. Until next time, CEO Talks, C-Suite Support, and Paul Whitley. Have a great day.